this is the fifth lecture in this series, and this specific lecture I will be discussing some of the fundamentals of lubrication. I think in the beginning of this course I have very categorically mentioned that tribology is a subject which is being widely pursued by mechanical engineers and to a much less extent by material scientists. And in the mechanical engineering domain, significant research is also being conducted on lubrication aspects. Okay. So, lubrication is also a subject where mechanical engineers often interact with chemists or people from chemistry department to develop new lubricants. So, I reiterate my very my statement in the very beginning that tribology is truly an interdisciplinary subject. So, it cuts across the mechanical engineering to material science to chemistry also, and also some of the mathematicians they also work on the lubrications, particularly the lubrication involves the solution of many complex mathematical equations to find out the life of a lubricant, to find out the lubrication efficiency and so on. So, there also mathematicians play a big role. So, since this course is particularly meant for the senior undergraduates and the graduate students in the primarily in the field of material science and also to some extent in mechanical engineering, the purpose of this lecture is not to get into a significant depth into lubrication, but to discuss very fundamentals of the lubrication, different type of lubrication, how the friction coefficient is reduced as a function of speed, sliding speed and so on, what we call as Strybeck curve. So, what is the qualitative description of the Strybeck curve, and how that curve also tells you that how the friction coefficient varies in different lubrication regimes, right, different lubrication regimes, that is also important. So, all these aspects will constitute this particular lecture on lubrication. Now, let us quickly recap. In last lecture I have told you that frictional heating, right, frictional heating at tribological surfaces. So, this frictional heating at tribological surfaces that is very important, and it can be quantified using multiple formulas or multiple equations that I have shown in the last lecture. Now, this frictional heating, the point is that how to reduce the consequences of frictional heating to extend lifetime. So, lifetime extension is also very important for many machine structures or machine elements. So, there are two ways you can do. From materials perspective, one can use materials with high thermal transport properties. Okay. So, there are two scenarios I am trying to explain. One is using materials with high thermal transport properties. So, with high thermal transport properties means that thermal conductivity should be higher. So, this K value which should be higher, so that heat is dissipated by more conduction. And number 2 is the use of lubrication. So, this option 1 essentially lies in the domain of material science, and option 2 lies in the domain of mechanical engineers, lubrication, mechanical engineers and chemists. So, this in this particular lecture I will just describe that what are the very basics of the lubrication. So, essentially therefore, this slide actually connects my discussion with the earlier 2 slides. The purpose of the lubrication is to reduce wear at the contacting tribo surfaces, to reduce friction, to transfer heat away from the sliding surfaces. Okay. And in some cases, when there is 3 body wear situation, 3 body wear means there are 2 fast bodies like matting solids 1 and 2, and there are debris particles. So, it is like 1 and then this is solid 1, this is solid 2. If there are some debris particles they are formed and they are getting entrapped. So, this is the wear debris particles, and these wear debris particles in tribology literature they constitute the third body. And this third body you can mention, you can see that how this third body can also take part in this wear phenomena. So, the one of the purpose of lubrication is to flush away this third body these wear debris particles from contacting surfaces. So, what is the mechanism by which lubricants work? Lubricant essentially adheres to contact surface to form an lubricating film, and that keeps the contacting surfaces apart. So, this is very important. Essentially, if you have this is the first 2 bodies. So, if this is your flat, now lubricants essentially makes a film here. They makes a film, and this film is important, that keeps these 2 bodies apart. Now, 3 major types of lubrication. One is full fluid film, second one is a mixed lubrication, third one is the boundary lubrication. We will see all these different types of lubrication one by one in the next few slides. Okay. Parameters which govern the efficiency of lubrication, this actually depends on the film thickness of the lubricating layer H and viscosity of the lubricant. Now, film thickness of the lubricating layer is H, and this H depends on the viscosity to the power 0.7. What is speed? Speed is nothing but sliding speed to the power 0.7. And what is load? What is the load that is acting on the, this is the normal load which acts on the surfaces, tribological surfaces. So, load you can see it is inversely proportional, but out of this what you see, viscosity and speed is very strong influence 0.7, whereas load is little bit weaker dependence because it is minus 0.13. Okay. So, from this expression you can very clearly see that lubricating film thickness would be higher for more viscous lubricant and also at higher sliding speeds. Okay. So, this is a very simple mathematical expression which can be correlated to find out what would be the lubricant film thickness. What is in view of this particular equation, what are the properties of a lubricant? There are 5 properties I have mentioned. A good lubricant should have a low shear strength, it should have high viscosity, third one it should have high thermal conductivity, and fourth one it should be inert, does not react, and fifth one it provides chemical protection against corrosion. So, what it means is that Suppose that two solids at the contact, if they corrode each other, lubricant should stop this corrosion, should give this protection, and lubricant should not react with the material, so the tribochemical reaction should not happen. Why it should have a high thermal conductivity? If it has a high thermal conductivity, then they can dissipate heat from the contacting surfaces. And high viscosity means, if the higher the viscosity, if you look at this particular equation, higher the viscosity, more would be the H. More would be the H means more would be the film thickness. More would be the film thickness means the two surfaces can be physically separated, or two surfaces can be made physically apart from each other, and so that will reduce the friction and wear as well. Just a comparison of the friction values of these typical lubricated and unlubricated conditions. Let us take the example of self melted hardened steel. In the unlubricated conditions, it is 0.5 to 1. In the boundary lubrication, it goes down to 0.1 to 0.2. So, as you see that in the boundary lubrication, the coefficient of friction substantially reduced. In the mixed lubrication, it is even lower, it is 0.05 to 1, and hydrodynamic lubrication, it is even going down to 0.05. Okay. The typical adhesive wear rate. So, as you can see that coefficient of friction goes down, right, if you go from top to bottom. As you go from boundary to mixed to hydrodynamic lubrication, the coefficient of friction goes to even lower than 0.05. Now, how does the lubrication influence the wear rate of the similar metals, let us say self melted steel? So, this bottom table essentially shows you the order of magnitude of the wear rate. So, in tribology literature, it is not the exact value of the wear rate that is important, but it is the order of magnitude that is important. What you see here, the first case, that dry unlubricated conditions, the wear rate is 10 to the power minus 14 meter cube per Newton meter, that is the wear rate. If it goes to mixed lubrication, boundary lubrication condition, 2 orders of magnitude lower, 10 to the power minus 16. If it goes to mixed lubrication, it goes to minus 10 to the minus 17, and it goes to hydrodynamic lubrication, it said the no measurable wear. What it means is that wear rate is so small, you cannot measure to any reliable manner by any experimental technique. So, essentially it remains more or less flat, there is no wear on the surfaces. So, from both the things, if you can see that both the COF and wear rate that reduce, COF and wear rate systematically decreases as you go from boundary lubrication to mixed lubrication to hydrodynamic lubrication. So, this particular behavior, it is more or less consistent in the case of lubrication, in the case of the use of lubrication. Okay. So, now if you look at these hydrodynamic lubrications, there are conformal contacts. What you can see, the two solid surfaces, they are in conformal contact with each other, because essentially the surfaces, the two matting surfaces, they conform to each other. Now, if you put the lubrications here, this is the lubrication film, or this is the lubricant here, if you can use, then that will make this surface separate and this surface separate. Similarly, this is also conformal solid. So, these are two surfaces, one is rotating, and again there is very clear conformity, and their hydrodynamic lubrication plays an important role. Typical non-conformal contacts, for example, gears, right. So, this is called gear tooth, right. So, these two tooth in the gears, they essentially represent non-conformal contact. So, again gear against cams, again it is a non-conformal contact. Ball bearings. So, this is one ball. In the one of the earlier lectures I have mentioned that one of the innovation that has happened in the field of ball bearings is called hybrid ball bearings, like you have a metallic raceway and you have a ceramic balls. Now, ceramic balls can be either silicon nitride or Cialon balls which has a good wear resistance, that is used as a ball, and you have a metallic raceway, that is a steel raceway. Okay. Now comes to the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication. Now if you look at these two non-conformal contacts, right, this is being blown up here. So this is one tooth kind of things, gear tooth, and this another gear tooth. Now this is pressed against each other. According to Newton's law, every action is an equal and opposite reaction. If it is Fn here, it should be Fn from the other tooth also. Now use lubricants here. So these lubricants will penetrate into the interface between the two tooth, and if you blow it up, if you see here in this particular lubrication regime, you can now solve some of the basic equations of the fundamental lubrication equations to find out that what is the elasto-hydrodynamic lubricant film thickness and how it is distributed in the spatially, like if you go from one end to another end. There are two things you can see here. So the things that, so essentially this surface would correspond to this particular surface, and this surface corresponds to, the bottom one corresponds to this one, and this is your lubricant. Okay. So and this regime that we are operating is the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication. So there is Hardian contact stress distribution which you have seen earlier, that is modified in the presence of lubricant, and also there is elasto-hydrodynamic lubricant pressure distribution because of the lubrication, that how this elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication that is changing. And there is temperature distribution. Temperature distribution, it showed a very skewed. So in both these elasto-hydrodynamic pressure distribution and elasto-hydrodynamic temperature distribution, you see it shows more skewed distribution. So this skewed distribution is very clear from these non-conformal contacts. However, Hardian pressure distribution, it shows more symmetric distribution, the way it is also expected. So in these lubrication regimes, one of the fundamental equation that one has to solve is partial differential equation, and what you see that is in the xy coordinate, the Cartesian coordinates, del by del x is h cube, h is your fluid film thickness, del P is your lubricant film pressure, this is not your Hardian contact pressure, remember. Again similar equation, similar expression del by del y h cube del P by del y is equal to 6 u, capital U is your relative fluid velocity, eta is your dynamic viscosity, and dH by dx is that how the fluid film thickness that varies with respect to x. What it means that this fluid film thickness is h here. Now as you go here, fluid film thickness is reduced, but as you go here, fluid film thickness is again increases. So if you see h1, h2, h3, and if you say this is h4, h1 to h4, this will increase. So h4 is greater than h3 is greater than h2, and maybe h4, h2 is more or less similar to h1. So this fluid film thickness, how it is increases with respect to x, that is also calculated. So if you solve these equations, then you get the solution, and then that would be very important. And other point that you must notice here, that eta is not a simple viscosity, it is dynamic viscosity at pressure P. Okay. This how this dynamic viscosity also changes with pressure. Now Baru's exponential model tells you that eta is equal to eta naught exponential e to the power alpha p. So alpha is the pressure viscosity coefficient, and eta naught is your dynamic viscosity at atmospheric pressure, that is P is equal to 1 atmosphere. Okay. Now all those things, the equations that I have shown you in the very beginning of the last slide, if you solve it with the given boundary conditions, then what you get, minimum film thickness, minimum lubrication oil film thickness can be expressed by this particular equation. H mean is equal to 3.63, that is Rx is the effective radius in the x direction. Capital U is the non-dimensional parameter for speed. G, capital G is non-dimensional parameter for materials. W is your non-dimensional parameter for load, and K is your non-dimensional parameter of the contact geometry. And you also see here R in the lambda, right, and this lambda is nothing but H mean divided by R square Q 1 plus R square Q 2. So, what is R Q? You remember in the one of the lectures I have told you about the RA and RQ. RA is your average surface roughness and RQ is the RMS roughness. So, you have to take RQ here to calculate the value of lambda, which you have to put it in this particular equation. So, this will give you that what is the minimum oil film thickness. In the mixed lubrication regime, you will get a very interesting picture in terms of how the elasto-hydrodynamic pressure that goes through a transition. Now, these are the two matting solids, two non-conformal contacts 1 and 2, and this is your lubrication L in the yellow marks. Now, if you look at this particular contact region, the way it goes, it is little bit tapered in this positive x direction and minus x direction, and then pressure it goes through non-symmetric manner, it changes, and it is repeated again in the fluid space in this particular regime. So, this behavior is kind of repeated, and this is called elasto-hydrodynamics contact spots. This is fairly important curve, Strybeck curve. So, along the y axis it is the coefficient of friction that is being plotted. Along the x axis it is plotted eta, v and f. Eta is your viscosity, v is your sliding speed and f is your force. And then how this eta value changes? Eta changes in a very non-linear manner. In the boundary layer, boundary lubrication regime, eta drops to some extent, but this decrease in the boundary lubrication regime is much at lower extent compared to the mixed lubrication regime, because if you see that decrease is very significant and very substantial the way it goes down from boundary to mixed lubrication. In the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication regime, that coefficient of friction does not increase to a much significant extent. It is more or less constant, but it increases to some measurable manner with parameters which are plotted around the x axis. For example, if the sliding velocity keeps on increases, so therefore, eta v by f value also increases, but that will not cause significant increase in the coefficient of friction. That will increase only that will cause only minimal increase in the coefficient of friction. So, essentially low coefficient of friction will be maintained under a longer window or much larger window of the sliding speed in the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication regime. Okay. So, these other things that at the beginning of this lecture on the lubrication, I have also mentioned that this coefficient of friction not only is reduced in lubrication regime, but also the wear rate is also reduced, right. I have given you few examples for the self-melted hardened steel, and then I have shown that how the orders of magnitude of the wear rate decreases in different lubrication regime. Now, what you see here, coefficient of friction mu is plotted against lambda, and what is lambda? Lambda has been defined here. Lambda is nothing but H mean, that is minimum fluid film thickness divided by RQ1 square by RQ2 square. That means, if it is RQ1 here and if it is RQ2 here, and this is your H mean here. So, this H mean divided by the square root of these two terms would give you the lambda value. and if you plot this coefficient of friction as a function of lambda, again it shows a very non-linear manner. It essentially decreases, and that to significant extent, followed by very small increase in the coefficient of friction in the elasto-hydrodynamic lubrication design. And in all those things, what you see that mechanism of the surface interaction also changes. For example, in the boundary lubrication, the asperity contacts, the interaction that will dominate, and in the mixed lubrication it has a very high effect on the extension of the life. In the later part of the mixed lubrication, that will have considerably low effect. In the elastodynamic lubrication, at least some asperity contacts, some means it is much lesser than this one, and in the later part of the elastohydrodynamic lubrication, it is a full film. That means this lubricant film will be completely maintained, and that will separate out the two matting solids from physical contact. So, this is one of the industrial example like 4-ball wear tester to study the lubricants, and this 4-ball wear tester is very important to screen various commercial lubricants in the industry. So, what I am going to do in the next couple of lectures is that we will apply this particular knowledge that we have gained so far from the friction, wear and lubrication, and then we will also now start with that. The next thing is that wear mechanisms. So, wear mechanisms, wear is the way this term is defined, wear is the constant material removal from two contacting surfaces which are in relative motion. So, the whole spectrum of tribology is essentially the friction and wear of the two contacting surfaces in relative motion. So, therefore, wear which involves the material removal, that must take place when the two solids are in relative motion, that is absolutely important. Now, the other things as we go along the way, that wear mechanisms and so on, we will also see that how the different materials can be developed. For example, I said that materials with high thermal conductivity or thermal transport properties, there is something called self lubricating material, self lubricated film, right. Now, this self lubricated film, one of the approach can be that you can use the self bulk material, but on the bulk material you can deposit a thin layer of let us say titanium nitride, just to for example. So, this titanium nitride, or you can use some MOS2, moly disulfide. So, this moly disulfide or titanium nitride coating can act as a lubricating layer. So, there are plenty of examples I will explain to you later, but self lubricated film often used in the scenarios, in the application scenarios where you do not need to use a lubricant as such. So, without the lubricants you can use the self lubricated film to realize or to achieve similar level of reduced coefficient of friction and similarly reduced wear rate, which is important in the technological field. So, if you mention if you remember that three material classes we have, I have discussed earlier. One is called metals, another is called ceramics, and third one is called polymers. So, metals, ceramics and polymers, and then when they are used in the tribological contact, what you see here that ceramics and metals, they are different in terms of bonding, and then also they are different in terms of elastic modulus. But in terms of the coefficient of friction, suppose it is mu 1, this is mu 2 and this is mu 3. So, mu 1 is typically greater than mu 2 greater than mu 3. So, if you use the polymeric materials, often you can achieve the coefficient of friction which you can otherwise achieve in case of metals with boundary lubrication. So, without boundary lubrication you can achieve similar level of coefficient of friction in case of polymers. So, we will deal with this most of the materials which are used for polymer for tribological applications. What are the different classes of new materials that are being developed to with reduced friction and wear in the subsequent lectures of this NPTEL course. Thank you.